a very important mission here to Europe. Can you tell us why is it important to include a visit with the Pope during your visit to Europe to talk about climate change?
Well, the Pope is one of the great voices of reason and compelling moral authority on the subject of the climate crisis. He's been ahead of the curve. He's been a leader. His encyclical Laudato Si is really a very, very powerful document, eloquent and morally very persuasive. And I think that his voice will be a very important voice leading up to and through the Glasgow conference, which I believe he intends to, hopefully intends to attend. So we need everybody in this fight. We need all the leaders of the world need to come together, and every country needs to do its part. And I think His Holiness speaks with a moral authority that is quite separate. It's unique, and we need all the power we can bring to the table.
In very practical terms, how can the United States as a superpower and the Holy See as a much smaller country, but nonetheless as a moral and spiritual authority, collaborate in the fight against climate change?
Well, the Holy Father is one, if not one of the most powerful voices on the planet, and he's been extraordinary in the eloquence of his call on people to step up and be reasonable and to live out our responsibility as human beings in caring for God's creation. And we all have to be stewards of that creation. That's his message. But because he is above politics and outside of the hurly-burly of day-to-day, but because he is above politics and outside of the hurly-burly of day-to-day national conflict, etc., I think he can sort of, shake people a little bit and bring them to the table with a better sense of our common obligation. Different entities will make different contributions to this effort. There are very small nations, some of which don't emit a lot, like in NATO, like Norway or Sweden and some Scandinavian. Denmark is an example. There are plenty of countries, Kenya and places where they're reducing emissions, and they're small, but the power of their message is enormous right now because they're affected. And that's one of the compelling aspects of this. Big, powerful nations like the United States have had the ability over years to be emitting and growing, but now we're at a day of reckoning with respect to what are the consequences of the way we've been growing. And I think the Holy Father speaks with special authority to our sense of obligation to each other and the ways in which we need to all step up now together. Given the divisions of the world and some of the polarization and the ideology and conflict, that voice is more important than ever.
And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth.